Welcome to Real Estate Exposed, helping people in San Diego buy, sell, and refinance their biggest investment, delivering you timely truths, exposing important issues, and helping you get into the right home. Here are your hosts, real estate expert Daniel Beer, top-ranked professional by sales volume at one of San Diego's largest brokerages, and his mortgage partner, Todd Pianin, with over $2 billion in funded loans.
Ace, Sunday morning, we're back with you. How is everything going?
Everything's going great, and we got our good friend Erik Kaplan on the line. How are you this morning, Erik?
I'm well. Good morning. How you guys doing?
How's the weather in New York on this Sunday?
Not so bad. Not so bad. A little cold today.
A little cold.
Erik Kaplan, the fixer.
I don't know about the fixer. I would say the credit expert.
To me, he's the fixer.
He's the fixer?
Because he fixes my clients' lives.
He's
makes
fixed
things
many
easier.
of your clients' lives.
He's you're going to get to know Erik on today's show. Great guy. I'll let Todd do more of the introduction, but we're looking at a big week all across the country on the political spectrum, on the employment spectrum here locally. There is a lot of information that you're going to want to know that Erik's going to share with us. Todd, what are some of the highlights we're going to hear from him?
We're going to hear about, Erik. Erik, give us some of the highlights that you're going to talk about in our second and third segments.
Sure. We'll talk about how credit affects your life, how, fixing your credit or building credit will help you get better rates on mortgages, on, auto loans, credit cards. We'll talk about how we can get some derogatory accounts deleted or removed from your credit report. So basically, and credit education, how you can build credit if you don't even have credit.
Awesome. Well, we're looking forward to that. I can't wait for that. But this has been a really, really, really big week. This has been a really, really big week for San Diego. We have to talk about a couple things. One of the things we should talk about is Hagen's Groceries. Did you hear about this one, Dan? They're closing all the stores, letting all the employees go.
Yeah, how many thousands of jobs did you say we're losing?
I think it's somewhere between 5,000 to 7,500. Now, Albertsons has agreed to absorb some of these people, but I mean, for like us, our local Hagens, the guys, because they declared bankruptcy, they're even losing their vacation pay.
Some of these Hagen's grocery stores are going back to being Albertsons.
Right.
Albertsons sold it to Hagen's. They're suing each other. What's going on with these guys? Honestly, it seems like a bunch of clowns, to be honest with you.
It does. I don't know the intricacies. And Erik, you don't know what Hagen's or Albertsons what we're talking about, but basically, it was Albertsons sold a whole bunch of grocery stores to Hagen's, which is a Pacific Northwest grocery chain, and basically they had them open for about, I would say, 90 to 120 days, and now they're shutting them all down. So,
and more importantly, we're losing those jobs here locally.
Correct.
Right, so that's just an example of how having a clean business environment, and now granted this wasn't politically driven,
right? But
having a clean, easy business environment, how when we're making those decisions, when we're considering these political candidates, when every time we're talking about the how business friendly an environment we want to have. It has a direct effect on the people all the way down to the local level, on their jobs, their families, and there's a lot of people being affected by these executives that just can't get their stuff together.
Well, this is also going to affect the real estate, because now they're closing down local grocery stores. So certain areas that you could walk to the grocery store, you can't necessarily walk to the grocery store anymore.
Yeah.
The other big news, and Erik, you can probably comment a little bit about this because the candidate lives in your backyard, but Donald Trump released his tax plan today, or this last week. Not today, this last week.
Yeah, this is interesting.
What did he have to say? I haven't read it yet.
Oh, so this tax plan I think is unbelievable. First off, I think it's basically a married couple who makes up to $50,000 only pays 0% income tax. The highest tax bracket is going to pay 25% tax. So that means a married couple who makes over $250,000 is going to pay, the most they're going to pay is 25%. You're still going to get the mortgage deduction. They're going to do away with AMT, which I think is fantastic. AMT is garbage. And the other really cool thing I liked about what he's talking about doing is, how there's $3.7 trillion of American dollars outside the U.S. He's saying one-time corporate, come back in, you pay 10% tax. That's going to reflood the market with U.S. dollars, which means that basically instead of China owning our bonds for the sake of argument, some of these big companies may start buying our bonds. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I'm pretty fired up over this thing.
Yeah, I think it's actually really interesting how he's helping. You know, this plan actually really does help the lowest earners, the poor. Okay, this plan actually does help them. He's a Republican. Wow, right? I mean, that's gonna. A Democrat couldn't possibly believe that a hard-charging entrepreneur, business builder like Mr. Trump would actually want to help the poor.
Yep.
But this is what this plan does, and I could not believe ever just how much of our money goes all over the world when we have so many internal problems. And he's absolutely right. I mean, if we can get that money back here internally, we don't have to have these astronomical tax rates.
Right.
We're doing it because we support so much of the outside world. I like the plan. I have to say, I am getting more and more intrigued by
Mr. Trump.
This,
What about you, Eric? Are you intrigued by Mr. Trump?
I'm a little intrigued by Mr. Trump. I think he's he's outspoken, and he's saying certain things that I think a lot of people want to hear.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I've been pumped on Trump pretty much since the beginning, and Dan's been pretty not so pumped on Trump, but now I think he's getting pumped on Trump.
He's getting swayed, huh?
Yeah, he's getting swayed.
Well, what's really different, and we've talked about this over and over. We're definitely not, saying anything anyone's not heard, but the reality is that even if he says something you don't want to hear, even if he says something you don't agree with,
right?
You know that it's his own thought.
Right.
It wasn't planted in his brain by this, by lobbyists and outside money and backers. Like, the fact that that's not present is amazing.
Right.
The fact that it's even legal, our lobbying system and all that, the fact that that's legal is unbelievable. I mean, we have a legal bribery system in America with our political candidates. It's absolutely astonishing. I've always felt like if you could just remove that alone from the picture, everything else would, automatically we would have a better functioning, more transparent, higher trust government.
But that's how everybody feels, Dan. I mean, even when I'll take it down to two levels, to like our levels right now. I mean, first off, when you refer Taisha and
I'm only down one level, Todd.
Okay, sorry. Well, when you refer Taisha and the clients think that we're giving you a kickback for referring us, which is illegal and we don't do. Same thing when we refer clients to Erik. People think that Erik's giving us a kickback on when he tries to help people with their credit, which is not true. I mean, I'm bringing that back to the base of who we're on the phone with, but I mean that's how society seems to work, is based on this bribery type system.
It's really refreshing to actually know that you're, even when disagreeing with the person, that you're actually disagreeing with him,
right,
and not with the people in his ear, not with the people in his stuffing his pocket.
Correct.
So that's just very, very cool. You're listening to Real Estate Exposed here on News Radio 600 KOGO. And we do have to mention, San Diego, you saw the highest appreciation rate in the country over the course of last month, okay? So going back actually in July, because July is the numbers that we just got, the official numbers on. Case-Shiller has reported that our local market here in San Diego County went up 0.8% in July. And that's a 5.4% appreciation rate over the full year, going back to last July. So, what do we make of that? Right? Is that what we expected? Is that different? Is that lower? Is it better? How do we process that information?
Well, I mean, you and I have called for basically 3 to 5% appreciation every year. And that's what we're seeing, a normal appreciation. I think that July was a different month. It was the beginning of the summer selling season, as you like to call it, which you hate to talk about. But I think people can find out more about how you do what you do. We got something coming up soon, right, Dan?
Well, the workshops are coming up, and at the workshops, all of this, especially when you're in San Diego, and if it's the summer or the spring, it's all so irrelevant. We need to realize, and the smartest sellers do realize, that we have a year-round market in San Diego County. Our market in San Diego County is not like that in Nebraska. It's not like the one in Vermont. It's not like the one in North Dakota or in Maine or in New Jersey or New York.
Right.
Okay. Hell's not about to freeze over here. Like we're we have a year-round market in San Diego, and the smartest sellers understand that it's not just about how many units are absorbed. It's not just about how many buyers are in the marketplace, which does matter, by the way. And let me tell you, there is some truth to the entire, selling season theory, because there is an uptick in buyers that do come into the marketplace in the spring and summer.
Right.
But you have to see the entire picture. To see the full picture, you also have to be aware of how many new sellers are introducing their home to the market. So in other words, how much supply is being introduced? How much competition would you have as a seller if you're following the herd and listing in spring and summer? And what you'll find is that there's a disproportionate amount more homes that hit the market in the spring and summer as opposed to those that come on outside of those months. And so we're about to have our home selling workshops where you're going to learn exactly how to create a negotiating advantage and take it and do the best you possibly can in what actually turns out to be a higher absorption rate environment. What matters is not just how many buyers are out there, because if you have a 30% uptick in buyers, but you have a 100% uptick in new listings, then your buyer actually has more to choose from in the summer, and it's tougher road.
It's more competition.
It's more competition. Right. So at these home selling workshops that are coming up, which, by the way, we are giving away our free tickets to, and a number of them have already been claimed, you can claim yours at 800-646-4977. We're going to discuss exactly how to take advantage of the environment that you're being presented with and how to be a smart seller here going into October, November, December, and into the beginning of the year before all your neighbors who live all around you that are thinking, hey, honey, let's sell the house. And they're having conversations that sound something like, yeah, sure, let's do it, but let's wait for spring and summer because that's what CNN tells us to do.
Right.
Well, we're going to show you how to take advantage of that and actually be in a smarter, better position. If you want your free tickets, just go ahead and call 800-646-4977. We'll get them sent out to you. We have locations around the county, lunchtime and after work. 800-646-4977. And coming up next, we're going to dive in deep here with Erik on credit issues, what to look for, what to avoid, how to fix it, and making sure that you're in a position to be smart. All right, we're with you. We're with you. It is Real Estate Exposed, News Radio 600 KOGO. Todd Pianin, my mortgage expert at Home Street Bank, and I'm Daniel Beer of the Daniel Beer Group at Windermere. On the phone, we actually have Erik Kaplan. Erik Kaplan of THD Credit Consulting, and we've asked Erik to get on the phone with us today because credit is such an important piece to the puzzle that some of us often even take for granted, especially some of you, that are in good position. And I'll admit, myself, I just went through this exact same issue where you're in a good position. You believe, hey, everything's paid on time. There's no issue. And you find out that, when you take your eye off the ball on credit and what's going on with your credit, you can run into a surprise. And I'll tell you along the way here what happened to me recently. So, Erik Kaplan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Todd and Dan.
Our pleasure. We're really excited to have you. So tell us, the simple version, Erik, basically, what you do and what you help clients do.
So basically, we help people fix their credit. We've been doing this about 10 years. If someone comes to us with an issue, credit issue, whether it be late payments, medical collections, short sale foreclosures, whatnot, any negative items on the credit report, we basically help them try to get their scores up to qualify for mortgage, auto loans, credit cards, those types of credit.
And what I want the listener to realize is this is for everybody, because Todd and I this is Real Estate Exposed, right? We're helping people buy and sell homes, finance them, whatever it is they need to do. And sometimes Todd and I will be dealing with, say, a doctor, a lawyer, a high earning individual, somebody that really has their stuff together, but we go in as soon as we pull credit or Todd pulls credit, right, we find surprises that they're not aware of. So this is really for everybody to listen to and hear. Let's start there, Erik.
I mean, credit scores. I mean, that's where we find interest rates now are dictated based on someone's credit score. So
and you have some little medical collection from
it can ruin
8 years ago
correct.
on a $40 bill you didn't pay.
And then your credit score can drop dramatically, and we've sent lots of clients to Eric to do that. I mean, Eric,
exactly.
how important is credit score right now in the world?
It's not just, credit scores are not just important for you getting a mortgage, but it's also getting a job. Sometimes it might be getting insurance. They do a background check, or you try to rent an apartment, or whatever it may be. The credit is very important for everybody. And even more, first-time home buyers, they may not even know what their credit score is when they're looking for a home. So to review your credit report to see if there's any problems with it is very important to do. It's always wise to do anyways.
So here's the catch-22, right? Because we know we should be aware of our credit, yet we're told that if we constantly check our credit, that it makes our credit go down, our credit score go down. How much truth is there to that belief? And what is the best way for the listener to monitor their credit and be aware of where they stand?
That's a great question. I would say, so there's a hard inquiry and there's a soft inquiry. A hard inquiry is when you try to go for a mortgage, when you try to apply for an auto loan, when you try to get a credit card. These will they'll lower your credit scores. They won't lower your credit scores a lot. If you do a lot in 1 month, it may hurt you. But I would suggest you go do a soft credit pull or consumer credit report. And there's many websites out there that you can apply. You can get a credit report for $1 or $29, whatever it may be. But it's a soft pull, so it will not negatively affect your credit. The scores aren't the same as a mortgage credit report or an auto credit report, but it'll give you some sense of where your credit scores are at.
So explain that to me. How come the scores are different when you do a consumer pool versus, because when I'm talking to clients and we're going through their credit report, they say, well, I just pulled my credit and I showed I had a 760, and I'm the guy who tells them that when I pull their credit report, it comes out to, let's say, 720 or 700 or 680. Why is it so different, Eric?
Because a consumer credit report is based off a higher scoring model. Let's say you go to Experian and this credit score is based off of 900, where a mortgage credit report could be based off of 850.
Right.
An auto loan could be based off of something totally different. So the scoring model is totally different from a consumer side and then a mortgage side.
And why do they do that? Do you know?
I have no idea why they do it. It's just all types of. You could have a 700 on a mortgage credit report and go get a car, and your score could be 640.
Really?
So maybe they just take different factors, or an algorithm. However they figure it out is how they get these scores. I don't know the exact science behind it.
Got it. And what do you think about that they're talking about changing the whole credit scoring process?
I think it would be very difficult at this point because so many people are relying on the current process. You would have to change it for everybody, from auto loans, credit cards. Everybody would have to change. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So
this whole Vantage score or whatever they're talking about, you think that's just kind of not?
Well, I think the Vantage score gives you. They're trying to make the Vantage score more of a credit reporting from a mortgage side. So the difference is, if someone pulls a score from Experian, they come to you and say, I have a 740, they're trying to make the Vantage score almost identical to the mortgage side, so there's not that huge discrepancy.
Got it.
Interesting. So, not that I'm trying to plug any particular website here, but I just have genuine interest in, we have no horse in the race, so to speak. If the listener, if I want to monitor my credit, what... you mentioned websites. Is there a more trusted site? Is there a place where it's going to affect me less? How do I actually track where I stand on a, I don't know. Should it be a weekly basis, monthly basis, 6 months, a yearly basis? Where should I do it, and how often?
Yeah. There's a lot of credit monitoring. I personally enjoy creditchecktotal.com. I think it's backed by Experian, and basically, I think you can get a monitoring for a month for $7.95. If you have a credit card through Amex or Citibank, I think they offer that as well, and they update you each month. So every month you'll get an updated credit report from all three bureaus. But I think that's a good part of it. But the other good part about it is that if a medical collection or a late payment or something slips through the cracks and shows up, by having this monitoring, it'll notify you very quickly that, hey, you have a late payment or you have a medical collection on your credit report.
We're going to pick it up with Erik here coming out of the break and go into some more questions and details that could be affecting you, including something that recently happened to me. This is the kind of thing you want to get in line. Let's make sure you're where you're supposed to be as you take advantage of the current environment and sell that home in order to get into your long-term play. We want to see you taking advantage of today's environment because we don't know how much longer Mrs. Yellen is going to let us have.
Low interest, Mrs. Yellen. You're right.
This is Real Estate Exposed, News Radio 600 KOGO. Make sure you get those home selling seminar tickets. They're free to you. 800-646-4977 is the number. 800-646-4977. Todd and I will be there in person with you. This is Real Estate Exposed. We're going to come right back after the break with Erik Kaplan of THD Credit. Hey, we're back here at Real Estate Exposed, and we're talking credit because, look, if you're looking to buy or sell a home or just maintain the sanity of your financial world, keeping an eye on your credit's a big deal. We're on the line here with Erik Kaplan of THDCreditConsulting.com. That's THDCreditConsulting.com. Erik, tell us, jumping right back into it, if there's three things that you would want to consider or that you would consider the worst things that, to do for your credit, what are those three worst things that you could possibly do for your credit? What would they be?
Well, the first thing I getting a late payment. I mean, you obviously, there's a lot of systems out there like auto pay or different types of accounts available for you to not go late on any account. So you should, I mean, having a late payment on any account is definitely one of the biggest issues you can do on your credit. The second one is maxing out credit cards. You want to keep your credit cards at a certain level from the balance to credit limit, which is usually below 50%. And usually if you go above that or you max your credit cards out, it's going to lower your credit scores quite substantially.
But, I mean, Erik, two questions on both of those. I mean, first off, things happen in people's lives, right, where they miss a payment, they forget to pay something on time or they miss a payment. I mean, it doesn't mean they're a bad person, right? I mean, but it's just a heavy hit against your credit score.
Correct. So, I mean, listen, things happen in life. You might have gone on a trip, you forgot to make a payment, you put them in the mail, it never got there. I mean, it's just one of the biggest. Getting a late payment on any account can lower your credit score substantially.
And then the other question I have is that a lot of people don't like to have a lot of credit cards. So, I mean, if they've got one credit card with a big credit line on it, why shouldn't they, and they pay it off every month, why would that affect their credit score?
Because when you charge your credit card, that amount shows up on your credit report right away. But if you pay it off, so if you have a $10,000 credit card and you max it up to $9,000 because you use that only card, and then you go apply for something, you're going to look like you can't manage your debt because those cards are going to be maxed out. It's going to lower your credit scores. Even
if I pay that off every month, I pay the whole balance off every month.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's when it cycles. So if you could pay it off every month, but if it only cycles on the 25th of each month, and you run your credit on the 20th, it's going to look like you're maxed out on your credit card, even though you paid it off a week ago.
Got it. So it just depends when the credit company actually posts to the credit bureaus.
Correct, and you want to make sure that when you apply for something after a post, so that you get the benefit of having the balance lowered, which will help your credit score go up.
It's a game. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's an interesting, way of being strategic about even when you're going to look at it.
Right.
So that is interesting. So here's something that's recently, it's happened to me, and I was shocked, man. I mean, I could not believe what I was seeing. I was furious. We've always been meticulous about paying everything. We pay everything on time. I mean, everything is paid, okay? And I was looking at an investment property, and lo and behold, I have my credit looked at, and guess what I found? I found that I had some medical collection from, who knows, it was like from, gosh, I'm going to make up the year here, but I'll be roughly right on. It was like a 2004 medical collection of some kind, which somehow didn't even show up when I purchased my primary residence about a year ago, or it didn't show up about 4 years ago when I purchased my residence before that. Yet somehow now here comes this collection for like $100 and something from 2004. And my credit goes from 800 to something like 640 or something ridiculous, okay? So that $100 and something medical collection from some procedure I don't even remember, I don't know how that happened, just knocked me off of my financial plan as far as an investment property that I wanted to purchase. How do I go about fixing that?
The first thing you want to find out is, you call the collection agency and see if they ever sent you a copy of the bill. If it's that old, the odds are they did not.
Yeah, but it's so damn tedious. I have to get on the phone with these guys. I have to wait. I have to be on the it's just it's a total pain in the butt, to be honest with you. it's something I have to do. I get it, but it's just the poorest use of my time.
Well, then I make it easy for you. You call 800-822-7120. Call me, and I'll take care of it for them.
There you go.
I mean, how common is that? Medical collections just seem to be something that we see pop up with our clients
all the time.
And they're not expecting it, just like I wasn't expecting it. And how much do you see that, Erik?
It happens all the time. I mean, it's unfortunate, and I think they're trying to pass a law to have medical debt not affect your credit scores as much. It may take a while for that to come into effect, but I see it all the time. And unfortunately, it might be a copay that slipped through the cracks. It gets to a collection agency, and they send a letter. The letter never gets to you, and it shows up on your credit report.
What are some other common things that people miss, Erik, that we don't, that you help clean up, or that you do?
Well, a lot. Again, a lot of the late payments people have, they might miss a payment. The medical collections are a big thing. Sometimes people there'll be credit cards that people don't pay on for a long time, and they'll get charged off. Meaning they'll get written off as a bad debt, sold to a collection agency, and they'll stay on your credit report for 7 years. And really, the only way you can move forward in getting a loan or getting other credit cards is you either have to settle something like that, or you have to wait until it falls off. We can help, settle that or try to get those removed from the credit report.
Got it. One of the questions that our consumers are probably our listeners are asking right now, Erik, do you charge to review someone's credit report?
No, we give a free consultation to see what we can do for them. Once we review the credit report, we give them an idea of how we can help them, how long it would take, and what our fee would be. But it does not cost anything for us to review the credit report.
Look, give this guy a call, 800-822-7120. 800-822-7120. You have to at least be aware of where you are. You don't want what happened to me to happen to you, where you go get ready to make some kind of financial move in your life only to find out that some $80 bill from 9 years ago is actually affecting your life. Trust me, it's a kick in the gut. It feels like crap, and you don't want it to happen to you.
So when you clean this stuff up, Erik, I mean, is it like is there a how can what you do is different than, let's say, me just disputing stuff on my credit report?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, everyone can dispute your own things.
Right.
You can definitely try to clean up your own credit. It's just, after 10 years, we found a way to target certain accounts a certain way. But no one needs me, and you can do it yourself. It's just that it's very time consuming. Right. And if you don't know where to begin and don't know how to do it, for something that take us 30 days, it may take you 90 to 120 days.
So there's a secret sauce or secret recipe that your company does that other companies or other people don't have.
Well,
you might not be a secret, honestly, Todd. It's like if someone tried processing their own loan, like, maybe eventually after fumbling around for who knows how long, they'd eventually be able to sort of get it done. But would it be anywhere near as properly put together, buttoned up, and efficiently done? In your world, would the legal pieces of it all be in place? Like, would it be the same as if they did it with you? The answer obviously is no. So it all just comes back to trusting your experts. If you look at the biggest and brightest stars in our country, the Buffetts, and look, some of you might say, well, they're rich and they can do it and so on. But any successful person understands that they lean on their experts.
Right.
You're licensed. You could actually sell your home, your own home. You're licensed. You have a real estate license, but you don't practice residential real estate.
Right.
You do loans.
Correct.
So when you actually go to buy and sell, you hire a residential real estate agent.
Correct.
Who is an expert, even though you're actually licensed to do it.
Right.
Let alone how it blows my mind when somebody tries to sell their own home, not realizing they're not even licensed. They've never done it before. Licensed agents. Whose full-time job it is.
Oh,
they fail on a regular basis. Most of them are only going to sell 4 or so homes all year long, and so it's just comical when someone thinks they're going to do it themselves and do it right and actually save the commission. I wish you could sell the home yourself and then also have it sold by someone else, just so you could see if you really saved anything or not, because you're negatively affecting your equity.
I mean, we send a lot of clients to Erik, and Erik does a great job. I mean, he's worked with me personally on some collection issues like you've got. So I would highly recommend. Again, Erik, why don't you give out your information one more time so people can get a hold of you?
Sure. The phone number is 800-822-7120.
Look, Erik, this is the type of person that we connect you with as we put all the dots together in order to put your home buying or selling plan in place. The biggest thing that you want to do is attend our home selling workshops. We're bringing them back. It's round 2. We're bringing them back by popular demand. We had a ton of people attend. A lot of our listeners, you attended, and we were so happy to meet you, be there with you in person. And we are giving away tickets. They're free. And we want to have you there, okay? You're going to learn how to create a negotiating advantage to net more on the sale of your home. And the coolest part of it, what people love, is when we teach them how to actually have their home sold within 96 hours of going on the market. The number to just get your free tickets, we're doing it around the county, lunchtime and after work, so there's going to be a time that works for you. And the number's 800-646-4977. That's 800-646-4977. 4977. Just give us a call. Let us know what time and location works best for you. We'll mail your tickets out. And it's just really, really fun. We love having the chance to meet you there in person. George Chamberlain will once again be taking part in a few of the workshops this time as he did last time. And it was really just great seeing everyone's eyes kind of pop open as George walked in the room.
It was great. It was electrifying. It
was super cool. Super, super cool. So we're going to do it again. Give us a shout. Let us send you your free tickets. The number's 800-646-4977. Coming up next, we're going to go in a little bit more detail on what you could expect to learn at the San Diego Home Selling Workshops, brought to you by Daniel Beer and Todd Pianin. So the home selling workshops are coming back at the, third week of October here.
Yep.
It's going to be really awesome. And actually, they've become such a phenomenon that the number 2 producing agent of all RE/MAX around the entire country, okay? The number 2 agent for RE/MAX across the country, they're located in Nashville, Tennessee. They're actually coming out to observe and learn what we're offering.
For our home selling seminar?
They want to come and learn how we're getting our homes sold as fast as we are. And they're flying out. It's the Gary Ashton team out of Nashville. The mega producers, but
That's cool.
like most mega producers do, they want to get better. There's
Right.
always something to learn.
Right.
And it's just humbling, actually, that they're flying out to literally observe all 3 days and just take it in and see what they could apply to their process. And actually, the number 3 RE/MAX agent in all of Minnesota is doing the same thing.
Wow.
So number 3 in Minnesota, number 2 in the country, they're flying out and simply just trying to pick up on, how are you guys selling homes predictably and systematically within 96 hours of going on the market? How are you doing it? How are you actually just flooding the house with activity? How are you finding not just the buyer, but it's seemingly finding the entire market for a home like that, and creating such a competitive environment where there's so often multiple offers and so often the price is going up over the asking price. So it's going to be awesome. We have the Chris Lindahl team coming out of Minnesota, number 3 in their entire state. We have number 2 in the whole country for RE/MAX flying out. They just happen to be RE/MAX guys. I'm not a RE/MAX guy.
No, you're not a RE/MAX guy.
But it's humbling. It's awesome to have them out here.
I mean, that's super cool. This is the first I've heard of this, so I'm super excited about that. I mean, I have to tell you personally that I learned a lot when we did our first set of seminars on how you're doing it and what's happening. And it's amazing to me all the little tips and the little things that you're giving these people at the seminars to help them sell their homes in a better way and to get the most money out of the house.
See, when most people go to learn how to sell their home, they're always peppered with tactics. But what we talk about is actually implementing a systematic and predictable strategy that will have an effect on the buyer from the moment they learn about the house to how they come to view it, what that environment feels and looks like. And they're introduced into an event that we will actually stage for them so that we're being purposeful about how we're selling your multi-$100,000 asset and not just letting people trickle in one at a time on a private showing, as is just all too common in the industry, because that just doesn't create a competitive drive doesn't it's not a competitive way to sell real estate. Okay.
The amazing thing was
we turned it around.
What the amazing thing was what people were saying as they were leaving the seminar.
It's awesome.
I mean, they were saying, we're not listing our house with anybody else but Dan here. I mean, and that's not what that's not what the seminar is about.
Well, no, it's not about that.
It's not a listing presentation.
What you will learn, just like what these guys are going to come and learn out of Tennessee and out of Minnesota, is actually how to get it systematically sold. And then we literally tell you everything we do so that you can do it. You can do it with anyone you want to do it with. And the biggest thing are that, it's just over the last 10 days, I've had multiple appointments where people, I went to someone's house, they were going to sell their home, and they were getting ready to put all kinds of money into the house. So one guy, he'd met with his designer, and she wanted to change the countertops, the carpets, the paint, this. And we did the math on it and said, look, we don't want to put $1 in the house that's not coming back 2 or 3 times.
Right.
Okay? We don't want to put money in the house that's not overcoming a large objection.
Right.
We don't want to put $1 in the house that's not going to accelerate your market time. There must be a return. Every dollar you invest must be held accountable. And there are certain places where you're going to have big wins and certain fix-ups that, honestly, you're just doing it to have a prettier house, but it's not going to line your pocketbook with more money. So we're going to, one of the big focuses at the workshop, how do we get the home ready? How do we get the home ready? And what fix-ups, what money-making, smart fix-ups do we want to do in order to get you the greatest return on your dollar? And which ones do we want to avoid? Because that is going to make a big difference on the bottom line for you. Okay, we go into smart staging techniques that could literally help you get upwards of 12% more on the sale of your home. And staging is absolutely critical. It is something that we walk you through, what to do, what not to do. There's a lot to it. Look, we want to meet you. We want you to be there. The tickets are free. Just call us and get them. 800-646-4977. That's 800-646-4977. They're coming up this month all over the county. Lunchtime and after work. Lunch is even being provided.
At some of the locations.
And we want to see you. 800-646-4977.
Thanks for spending your Sunday with us. I'm Todd Pianin from Home Street Bank, a member of the FDIC Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID number 304014.
Daniel Beer for you. Goodbye.